The silence of the universe becomes strange only if we expect something else, if we assume that intelligence expands. Most explanations of the Fermi Paradox begin here. They assume that intelligence spreads outward, that it colonizes, that it multiplies, that it leaves traces large enough to be seen across interstellar distances. This assumption feels natural to us. For most of human history, expansion meant survival. More land meant more food. More resources meant resilience. More territory meant security against rivals and disasters. Our technologies evolved inside this logic. Fire spread, agriculture spread, trade routes spread, empires spread. Even our modern systems reflect it. Economic growth, population growth, technological acceleration. Progress, as we define it, still means more. So when we imagine intelligence elsewhere, we imagine it following the same path. A young civilization discovers tools, then energy, then automation, and eventually it spills outward into the galaxy. But this story is not a law of nature. It is a historical pattern shaped by scarcity, competition, and short planning horizons. In biology, unchecked expansion is not a sign of success, it is a warning sign. Populations that grow without constraint destabilize their environment. They overshoot available resources. They collapse. Stable ecosystems behave differently. Growth slows. Feedback loops emerge. Balance becomes more important than dominance. These systems don't maximize size. They maximize persistence. Intelligence does not remove these constraints. It makes them visible. As systems become more complex, the cost of error increases. Small mistakes propagate. Local failures cascade. Irreversible decisions accumulate over time. At a certain scale, expansion stops being opportunity and becomes risk. Every new settlement increases logistical vulnerability. Every new dependency increases fragility. Every signal sent into space is permanent, travelling long after the civilization that sent it may have changed. A sufficiently advanced civilization would notice this, not in a moment of crisis, not through collapse, but gradually. It would observe that its greatest risks no longer come from scarcity, but from complexity, from systems that are too large to fully understand, from actions that cannot be undone. Expansion would begin to look less like progress and more like exposure. At that point, intelligence would face a choice. Not whether it can expand, but whether it should. For a civilization capable of long-term planning, the safest strategy may not be outward growth, but inward refinement. Optimization instead of expansion. Efficiency instead of scale. Maintenance instead of acceleration. Such a civilization would invest in resilience, not visibility. It would reduce unnecessary complexity, limit irreversible actions, and avoid drawing attention it cannot control. Its greatest achievements would not be visible from afar. They would be internal, stable systems, sustainable lifetimes, technologies designed to endure rather than dominate. From the outside, this civilization would appear quiet, not because it failed, but because it learned when to stop. If this pattern is common, then the silence of the universe is no longer mysterious. It is simply what mature intelligence looks like. In the next episode, we'll look at what happens when intelligence turns inward, and why awareness itself may be the greatest limiting factor of all.